She was the former co-chair of the Republican National Committee. She hosts the My View show on Fox, the Right View on Salem. You get that on the Salem News Channel as well, wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, etc. for that. And she is an entrepreneur in the fitness industry as well. We'll touch on that in a second. But Lara, thank you for being here. I couldn't help but think of you when I heard this clip of George Conway, who, by the way, is on the fat shot. Like, he might be able to fit into some of your athletic wear soon because he's on the fat shot. The guy's dropping weight rapidly. Check out cut 3, guys.
That's what Garland did. That's what, frankly, Joe Biden did. They just assumed, after January 6th, he's going to go away. These psychos, malignant narcissists, narcissistic sociopaths, have been writing about this here. These demented, deranged, personality disordered people do not go away. They don't. You have to make them go away. Okay. And you have to call them out and you have to go toe to toe with them. And you can't ignore them. Don't give him oxygen. Don't give him oxygen. Excuse me?
It's quite a neck drape he's got going there with the fat shot that's going on. But Lara, he says that Merrick Garland and Joe Biden let your family off the hook. I wrote an entire book, God. six trials, all connected to the Joe Biden White House. They put your family under. Your husband is one of the most subpoenaed men in the history of the country. For what? Because his last name is Trump. And then this is what goes for commentary, I guess.
That's exactly right. Because the last name is Trump, you are accurate on that. First of all, congrats to you. I'm so excited to be on with you. This is fantastic stuff. It's pretty rich to hear George Conway there, of course, because we all know the reality. We know that Donald Trump is the most targeted person, I think, in the history of American politics. And they have gone after this man, not just with impeachment, for things that were absolutely insane, but they've also gone after this man by politicizing our justice system. And we've seen it all. Sorry, there's something else going on in my ear here, but I'm loving talking to you on this. I think I've got Scott Jennings in my ear as well. But it's so crazy to hear the way that they say you have to make them go away. To hear George Conway say that, they tried to make him go away. They tried to weaponize the Justice Department against this man. They have, of course, weaponized all of their voters against Donald Trump. There's a Trump derangement syndrome going around. I don't know if you know anyone with it, but it's insufferable. And I don't think there's any cure for it, Alex. And then, of course, whenever that didn't work, there was someone who took it into his own hands to try and assassinate President Trump. And not only did that guy try it, of course, in Butler, Thomas Crooks, but then we also had the gentleman down in Florida at the golf course tried to do the same thing. So whenever they say that you've got to make him go away, I'd love to know what George Conway ultimately means by that. It's absolutely outrageous to hear, but nobody is surprised by this. And the problem the Democrats are going to have, and you're going to hear more of this kind of hyperbolic tone from them coming in the next several months. We're heading towards midterm elections, Alex. What are the Democrats running on? They have a socialist as the face of their party now, is Zoran Mamdani, the newly inaugurated mayor of New York City. Check out Venezuela and how socialism has worked out for that country, where we just had to get a dictator who has absolutely destroyed that country, whose people live just in absolute squalor and are under the thumb of this absolute monster for so long, to prosecute him here in America because he's been killing via the illicit drugs Americans by the hundreds of thousands a year. It's awful stuff for any society. So that's what they're going to be. It's a poster boy for the Democrats right now. And you're going to hear a lot more of this kind of rhetoric as we head towards November, because they got nothing to run on. Donald Trump has been completely successful in everything he's tried to do. And I would say he's actually surpassed even my expectations. And I had a pretty high bar for my father-in-law going into his second term. So good luck to everybody. Get ready to hear more of this crazy nonsense. But at least George Conway maybe can wear some of my workout clothes.
Yeah, really. There's so many places I want to take that, Lara, and I hope he resolved the technical stuff. And I do really.
Yeah, I think I got you back.
Okay, good. Beautiful. So I'll tell you, I've had to do a couple of hits where you get the feedback and you're hearing yourself in your ear. It is, I pat myself on the back whenever I can get through one of those, because it's very, very tough. Okay, but there are a couple places I want to take that, because I think that ties nicely into the big news of the day, which is what happened in Minnesota, Minneapolis, with this protester. We don't know if she's a pro-protester or not. We know that she had children and was not at work that day, but was defending Somali migrants. And I don't know if she was trying to run over the ICE officer or not, but we do know she was not complying with law enforcement at the time. And it's one of these things where if you're law enforcement and we're in a post-Donald Trump gets shot in the ear and attempted to get killed in his golf course era. We're in a post-Charlie Kirk got assassinated era. We're a post these agents getting shot, National Guard agents getting shot, Washington, D.C. era. So how could you not take your own safety into consideration if you're an officer? Of course, that's going to be a factor in some of this stuff. And then you hear this is the rhetoric that's coming out of the left since that has happened yesterday. Let's play cut 4, please.
I don't know what to tell you, and I don't quite know how to respond to the question other than my primary responsibility as governor is the protection of the people of Minnesota. And you can be assured whether it's the State Patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. I don't know at this time, and I want to be very careful.
And so we got Tampon Timmy Walls saying we're going to stand up to the federal government. We got Jacob Fry saying get the F out of Minneapolis to ICE. I've got a Mamdani clip I'm not going to play yet because I want to give you the time, Lara, who's saying that he's not going to comply with ICE. This is all insurrection. It's all insurrection. All of this is insurrection. And how come I feel like I'm taking crazy pills? I have to say that.
A rogue agent? I'm sorry. The agents of ICE have had a 1,300% increase in assaults on them, an 8,000% increase in death threats against them. This is not a rogue agent. This is an individual who's trying to keep the American people safe, who's enacting the law of the land. If Tampon Tim or Jacob Fry has a problem with any of that, they ought to go to the United States Congress and petition them to change the laws in America. These people that they are getting out of our country are gang members, they're human traffickers, they're drug traffickers, they're bad hombres, as President Trump has called them before. These are not good people. You don't want them in your city. You don't want them in your community. And it's really wild to think of this as a rogue agent. According to the DHS Secretary, Kristi Noem, this individual, of course, was acting in a moment of self-defense. I think anyone who's seen that video has seen probably how terrifying that must have been for all people participating in that. It's a tough job, and I commend our men and women of ICE and of any of the law enforcement agencies out there, because, man, the Democrats' rhetoric against these people has been so awful. To tell them to get the F out of your city. They've been there, by the way. They've had an office there for decades. So maybe he needs to go check his facts, the mayor of Minneapolis. But it's really terrible because what they're doing is they are advocating against their own citizens. They are saying That's right. Actually want the bad people here, and we want them to cause chaos and problems in our streets and keep our communities less safe. It's insane.
That is a perfect point. They're going against their own citizens. The people who came into this country to steal taxpayer money, those are the ones who are getting defended, and the citizens are the ones who are being harmed by this. And hopefully people can understand that that's the logic when all the dust settles, and I hope they will. Lara, you were doing what I want to do, which is touting that the president's been very successful his first year. We're closing in on 1 full year exactly since inauguration. Is there a favorite accomplishment that you think is underreported or underdiscussed from this administration so far?
I'm just trying to imagine, Alex, if there were any other president with a D behind his name instead of an R who had brought peace around the world, who had alleviated so much suffering, so much pain, so much killing around the world as President Trump has. I mean, this man has ended 8 wars and conflicts around the world. And by the way, he's done it by leveraging the tariffs, the tariffs that were, people absolutely lost their minds over whenever he introduced the idea of this back in the spring of last year. Those tariffs have allowed him the ability to solve a lot of these conflicts. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. It is so huge. And I understand that Americans may look at that and they may say, well, how does that impact us? Look, when you have a strong United States of America, the entire world is in a more stable position. And that's a good thing for us. We don't want to have to involve ourselves in these things. We want to end them. Peace in the Middle East after the thousands of years of fighting that has gone on there is pretty remarkable. And so I know the president talks about it, but I'm just trying to imagine, had Barack Obama, Alex, ended 8 conflicts around the world, brought peace in the Middle East instead of giving, the enemy pallets of cash to the tune of $150 billion, I wonder how differently that would have been reported than it has been for this president. But look, the fact that he got handed the country in such a whole economically, I think by this summer, people are going to really see all of the policies that he's put in place, his pro-growth, pro-America, pro-worker policies are going to take effect. The one big beautiful bill, the no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security, all of that stuff hits this year. So I think people who've heard the affordability term thrown around by the Democrats so loosely as though they had any sort of plan, they got us into the disastrous place we were as a country. People are going to really understand that the Democrats have absolutely no solutions, that it's President Trump who's done the great things. And I hope that we see some serious reporting on that. And even if we don't, the American people are smart. They know when the gas prices are going down. They know when they have more discretionary spending, whenever eggs are not through the roof anymore, no one's talking about it. They feel that. So I think by this summer, we're going to feel that. But I just continue to think, like, what if it had been a Democrat instead of a Republican who had brought peace around the world? Amazing.
Very well summed up. And tomorrow we're probably going to get the announcement from the Supreme Court. We don't know for sure, but on whether or not the tariffs are legal, even though they've completely reset global trade and have helped the country immeasurably. So hopefully they do the right thing. The prediction markets suggest they will overturn the tariffs, though. So I don't know. We'll see that tomorrow. Lara, I got a minute. I want you to plug all your stuff. Where can people get your 2 shows and also your athletic wear, which is fantastic? It always shows up in my feed on social. So
I'm glad
you're doing good marketing.
We're doing some kind of good promotion there. If you're getting it, well, you can go to laratrump.com and you can find all of it. But My View, 9 p.m. Saturday nights on Fox News. The Right View, which is what you see right here behind me on Salem, wherever you get your podcasts. 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. We have a new show every single one of those days. And you know what? I'm just grateful that I get to be a voice in a time, Alex, where it's so huge. I always think, yes, I'm a Trump. Yes, I have, the family connection. But to be alive right now while Donald Trump is president, one day we're going to look back on this and be like, remember when that happened? It's so cool. It's so much fun. There's always great stuff to talk about. And I love having you on my show. So thank you for allowing me to be on yours, and congratulations.
It's really, a super fun show. I honestly feel like I'm at my best on your show. I don't know why.
You are. I agree with that.
I got to run, Lara. I appreciate you being here. Hope you come early and often. And I'll tell you, she's one of the fittest people in America, guys. So whenever I'm working out, I always think, I know Lara's already worked out today. So think about that.
Probably.
We'll be right back.